guys, so I am a little nervous to do this video today, so it took me a while to get on here. Okay, so I'm going to do a video about homeschool, and people have asked me for years to help them with homeschool advice, and I don't feel qualified, and I don't really want to share what I do or give advice in this topic, but I feel like since everyone is considering homeschooling this year due to the state of our world, I thought that it might be helpful for at least somebody. And my baby is riding a car roller coaster behind me, so if it's loud, I'm sorry. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is, why do I homeschool? Why did I decide to homeschool? I've been homeschooling for, it's a really good question, 4 or 5 years. And I decided to homeschool, first of all, because God told me to. My kids went to public school for 2 years, and San Andre did. They went to preschool and kindergarten. And while I loved their teachers, and the school was across the street, it was amazing. The kids they hung out with changed them. They came home like playing zombies in kindergarten. They don't know what zombies are. All their friends watched Walking Dead. And that was just too much for me, because we don't expose our kids to that, especially at preschool and kindergarten. They were also getting bullied, and just their language changed. And so that was one thing. The other thing was, they would go to school in the morning and then come home at night, eat dinner, and go to bed. And I felt like I didn't know my children. Like, people would ask me questions about my kids, and I just felt like I didn't know who they were. I didn't know their personalities. I was never around them. I was really missing that time with them. Call it selfish, whatever you want. I wanted to be around my kids. Also, it was difficult with other babies at home. I had to go pick them up during nap time, and so that was hard. Let's see here. Also, my daughter was having learning problems and issues in school. She was not able to read. And she would come home, and I would try to do her homework with her, and I would try to help her. And she was trying to memorize, not do phonics. Hi, Answer. Okay, go play. And so I just noticed she wasn't learning or catching on, and that was a big deal. She had kind of speech problems, the teachers kept saying she was having speech delays. I eventually took her to a speech therapist who said she was fine. She didn't have any problems. So just getting mixed reviews, and you could just tell she was struggling. And she was so tired. She was exhausted all the time. And then, the obvious other things that I personally believe that there's indoctrinated views in the schools that the teachers don't have any say in. They're not allowed to pray. They're not allowed to talk about God. And then a lot of kids have gender... Angel. A lot of kids have gender issues, identity issues, and they're overly sexualized in school, and I want them to learn about that stuff from me. So those are some of the reasons why I homeschooled. But the biggest reason, if God wants me to put the kids in school, I'll do that. The biggest reason is, I woke up one day, God made it very clear He wanted me to homeschool. My husband used to be against that. I asked my husband that day if I could, and he said yes, which was so outside of what he believed. So I knew for sure that that was God. So that is why we chose to homeschool. And while it has been a hard learning journey, there's been so many ups and so many downs, just like there was in school. There will always be ups and downs. It has been a blessing, and it's been amazing, and it's an honor to get to homeschool my kids. So that's why we homeschool. the next thing I'm going to cover is the hardest part of homeschool, the part that I struggle with the most, and that is curriculum. Once I've made the decision to pull my kids from school, and by the way, when I pulled my kids from school, the teachers said that they would do the same thing when they have kids, or if their kids were in school. One of the teachers' kids wasn't school age yet, but she said when her kid is, she's going to homeschool. The other teacher's kids were grown, and she said that in this day and age she would homeschool too. So it was encouraging just to hear the teachers tell me that they agreed with my decision, because I was really scared to tell them, because I love the teachers. They're amazing people. Okay, so when you're looking for curriculum, it gets overwhelming, it gets frustrating. I wanted to just put them in school because I could not decide. First of all, some of it is way expensive, and I mean, we're a big family, we can't afford an expensive curriculum, we just can't. That's why my kids weren't in private school. And then there's free curriculums, there's online, there's textbooks, there's all kinds of curriculums. There's Christian, there's secular, there's thousands, maybe more than that, maybe hundreds, I don't know. There's a lot of curriculum. That is the hardest part. I have tried, I think, like 4 different curriculums, and my kids, they all learn different. You'll just have to adjust to what your kids learn, how they learn, what they like. I personally, my teaching style is not to spend 8 hours a day doing every single detailed thing that they tell you to do in the curriculum. And so I was wasting a lot of money on these curriculums that had you do projects and activities and crafts, because I'd rather teach my kids the basics and play with them than spend forever getting all of the supplies and spending money on supplies and then doing a craft every day. I've learned that consistency is key, and that the key to homeschool is just doing it every day. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be extensive. You don't have to be like over the top, educated on everything. You just have to be consistent. And when you're consistent, then your kids will learn, I promise. Okay, so I will show you what I choose to use to teach my kids. Right now I have a preschool, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade for next year. And so, oh, that's a lot. That makes me nervous. Okay, so this is what I do for Bible. Okay, sorry. Reading is the hardest thing. It's the one thing I do not enjoy teaching my kids, and it's the most important. Imagine that. So last year I did 4 weeks to read with Aniston, and it worked great. It's easy, super fun, super simple. I totally suggest 4 weeks to read. Angeli did not get as much out of it as Aniston, so this year I am doing Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. So I'll be doing this with Angeli this year. Not all, the kids don't all learn the same, so you just have to keep seeing what you can do. And then I'm trying this book, Learn to Read, activity book, for her to do as well. Those are the 2 new books I bought for them. My other kids, we do these books. They are not expensive. They're like anywhere from $11 to $20 a piece for each grade. It covers all your basic subjects. And in their reading comprehension, they cover the science and history and states. So it has everything they need in this one book. If I'm struggling teaching them something, I will pull up a YouTube video and have another teacher teach it to them. It's free, it's easy, and if I can't, my husband will step in and he will try to get them to understand a concept or something that they're not understanding. But again, consistency is key. Continuing to tell them, to show them and teach them the same concepts is the most important part. Let's see here. Okay, the other thing. There's this app called Minnow Kids. I so suggest this app. It's on your phone and you can use it on like casting it to your TV. If you have a smart TV, even better. I do not. They can watch it on your phone, but it teaches them Bible. It gives them Bible shows to watch. It's pretty much my kids' TV. It does home church with your kids. It is church lessons for your children. It's amazing. You need to get Minno Kids. MINNO Kids. So that's another good Bible curriculum for them. So my philosophy is stick to the basics. Don't overwhelm yourself. They do 2 to 4 or more, depending on if they want to, pages a day, and they're front and back pages. I'll show you kind of what it looks like. But again, I've pieced together things that work for them. As you homeschool your kids, you'll learn how they learn, and you'll start to know and understand what works for your children, and then you'll just be able to be their best teacher. Now, yes, I do have those children that are stubborn and hard and that don't necessarily learn the greatest from me, and I have had to sanctify myself. It is not easy teaching your kids. It's not. And if you think it is, you're maybe not gonna be able to persevere, because it's not easy. And I do have to rely on God a lot to give me the strength. And it is okay to skip a day. If you and your child are struggling, skip a day, take a break. That's the joy of homeschool. Don't overload them or pressure them. Okay, so this is the biggest thing. I'll move past curriculum. My biggest advice for all new homeschooling moms. My biggest struggle was, I have a lot of people that would give me interventions because they didn't agree that my kids weren't in public school. I would see other kids and I would compare my kids to them. The comparison game will kill you. It's terrible. Don't entertain that. All kids are different. They are not made to be at the same level. I don't want my kids to ever feel pressured, or myself to feel pressured or pushed to be something they're not. Cultivate their gifts and then work on their struggles and encourage them. Now, I am the last person to give advice because I just don't feel like I'm an expert or I have succeeded as the greatest homeschool mom. I still struggle. I'm still learning. I'm still growing with my kids. But I have learned to take the pressure off, to let them learn at their pace, and to just enjoy it. If you enjoy it and you're consistent, they're going to learn. Promise. They're going to learn. Don't put pressure on yourself or on them. Don't let other people make you feel bad. And don't compare your kids to other people's kids. And another thing that I am not the greatest at, but read to your kids. The more you read to your kids, the better that they'll be able to learn how to read. Even have your older kids read to your younger kids, or put on YouTube and have somebody read a book to your kids. Whatever you need to do, whatever works out in your life, but reading, just having your kids always hearing a book is very helpful. Let me see if I missed anything. I think that's about it. If you have any questions, I'm always here. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a homeschool superstar mom. I'm just showing you what's worked for me. There's a million options out there, but trust God, relax, take off the pressure, be consistent, and let them be kids, learn as they go, do lots of field trips. Oh, one more thing. A lot of people say, well, your kids aren't going to be socialized. That's up to you. We have Bible study 2 to 3 times a week, so my kids are around 40 to 50 homeschool kids. That's their PE. They play at splash pads. They play at the park. Like I said, 2 to 3, maybe 4 times a week. So they're very socialized. I also have a big family, and so just being around each other is their socialization. But in schools, kids are told to be quiet. They're not allowed to talk at lunch. I mean, my kids are way more socialized than they would be in public school. So that is a myth. Don't believe the lies. Don't let people scare you into all they know. Homeschooling is not, my kids are not weird. I promise, my kids are not weird. They are very normal. I had the same stigma when I started. When I grew up, I felt that I was afraid of homeschooling because I didn't want my kids to be called the weird kids. But that's not true at all. All the kids that I know, all their friends that homeschool, they're not at all different. They're not weird. They're very socialized. They have life skills they wouldn't have being in school. They can cook with me. They do laundry. They do all their chores. They learn as we go to Bible study and they go grocery shopping. They learn all of the life skills by living life with mom. And I get all that time with them. My absolute favorite part of homeschooling is that I never miss a second with my kids. One day they will leave and I will not have that time. And I don't want to have any regrets. And so right now, I love every second that I have. And it's just been a blessing. It's hard, guys, but it's a blessing. Persevere, keep doing it. And I'm here if you need anything. Okay, bye.